You're good, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Township of Nipissing Council meeting, Tuesday, March 29, 6:30. First on our agenda, is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Councillor Scott, noted, thank you. We will move on to staff reports. I have two here and in no particular order. I have John Paul Negrinati's. And, is there any questions for John Paul on that? It's funny, it's back to planning season. I don't think it ever quit though, did it?
No, not really, but it's just more heavy again.
Yeah.
Just constantly talking now.
Yeah. There are lots of people and coming and going. And the second one is Road Superintendent McGinnis. I think the rink could have been open the last 2 days, but it would have just been pretty short.
Yes.
When does that upload come on?
May 15th.
Okay, so any other questions for Dan? Seeing none, I'll move on to Chief Bateman.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor and Council. Playground equipment's on order. They're going to keep us updated with all the progress. And I'll be working with Road Super McGinnis to prep the area and doing a lot of webinars and conference calls. The courses are starting to come out for the CMC and the bylaw. We're going to start prepping for wildland and bushfire season. And daytime burning comes into effect April 1st. So this Friday, no daytime burning. So we'll put all the signs up on Friday morning. So that's all I got.
Will, question. Do we know where we're putting the playground? Did we discuss where we're going?
So I'm going to bring it up next week at the rec committee meeting and get their
Okay.
thoughts first, and then if that's okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, and Chris Crosby Hodgins.
I don't have a staff report for council tonight. Most of mine is in the agenda package.
Just wanted to give you that opportunity to speak and to make sure you could hear us and we can hear you.
Absolutely.
Tricky bugger like that. So we'll start with Councillor Moore.
No, nothing. We do have our recreation committee, as we mentioned, on Monday, and we have a museum board meeting next Wednesday.
Okay, busy week. Okay, Councillor Marchant.
Nothing from the vet committee on the annual meeting yet. Source water protection meeting slated for April.
Okay, thank you. Everything just seems to be just getting ready to go. Councillor.
As a library, the Trillium Resilience Grant, we're getting it. So that's $6,600. So they're going to replace some of the chairs in the library that are getting really worn. Purchase a couple of Wi-Fi hotspots from Rogers. That seems to be a hot item with most rural or semi-rural libraries now. And also WSIB is giving out a surplus back to, I don't know if we're getting it here, but I do know that the library is going to get some back. I'm not sure what, but they got the notice that they're going to get some back. Nobody working in the last couple of years, I guess.
A lot of entries.
Yeah. The roof repair, there's a small roof repair that they've got a fellow that's coming in to do it. He's going to do it for $145 plus materials. So back to normal, but at reduced hours until the end of May. So Monday and Friday, 11 to 3, and Tuesday and Thursday, 11 to 7. And that's all I have from the library.
So at the end of May, will they be open Saturdays then, like they used to be?
I think we're discussing that still,
Okay,
but these are the hours we're going to for sure now.
good. Any questions for Councillor Kirky? Okay, Councillor Scott.
I haven't got any meetings till Monday.
Okay, yeah, he's busy next week. I had 2 meetings, both of which had been postponed. Those of you that are water related, we had the pre-freshet meeting. And the water this year, the lowest it was 194.66, which means absolutely nothing to anybody until you look. And that means the lake right now is down 1.3 meters from where it should be at normal navigation level. And but as of yesterday, the level of the lake has come up 7 centimeters. So that's a positive. And it is increasing slowly. And on our conference call, there's 50 participants on the conference call, and it starts in Temagami and goes right to Killarney. So that's where the other end of the French River comes out. They pointed out in our area, most of the snow is gone, but there's still above average snow and water content in the headwaters around Temagami. But again, there's nothing here. All dams are open on the Sturgeon and the South Rivers. And if you noticed even tonight, the South River's almost ice-free, so it's rolling. Every year, and I apologize to you that have heard this for the last 12 years, every year I comment that the lake is low and that the dams on the French should be closed to retain runoff. And this is always countered by, are you going to be responsible if there is a flood? And I counter with, you can let water out, but you can't get water in a dry summer. And they always say, get it out of Temagami. And the people in Temagami say, you're not draining our lake. So that's what we always have. And the freshet itself hasn't begun in earnest yet. So these meetings then will become weekly. So that's on the water and watershed management. East Home was March 23rd. They've started new software replacing the punch clock that was there 50 years ago when I was there. I mean, it's a different clock, but everything else is the same. You still hide around the corner and then come out to punch out. And now they're running a second system so that they can electronically, so hopefully there will be no mistakes, and then they'll be able to go on to electronic pay. And there's also a general ledger, which will be electronic because there's still handwriting checks. There's still handwriting cards on how many hours you work every week. And so this hopefully will help. Cable drops have been done for enhanced numbers. So because of all the enhanced number of inspectors that are going to be in, we have to have more internal and external cameras. And there's a lot. Construction, the network project is almost completed. That goes with the new software and everything. Completed on the south side, but on the north side of the building, it was delayed because as soon as they started, there was a sticker that said asbestos. The people immediately left the building and called Ministry of Labor instead of asking, because it turned out the asbestos was all taken out about 6 years ago now, but evidently somebody left a sticker up. So for 2 weeks, they had to stop and go back and get all of that to make sure that there was no asbestos in the building. And they also, the other thing with construction, they're looking at, we have to finance between the installation because the workers put it in, they want to be paid, but the government doesn't give you money until the end of the project. So now we have to look at how we're going to finance $5.2 million in the interim. Staffing sounds positive. New hires, 4 dietary, 2 in housekeeping, 5 PSWs, 3 RPNs, 2 RNs, and 2 RCAs, which are healthcare aides, total of 18. We still need 16 more. So that's, again, how dire it is. And operationally, supply chain issues continue. This week, it was cold cereal. They could not get cornflakes, Rice Krispies, and one other dry cereal. And it was funny because this was also in one of the Toronto newspapers, and part of that is because Ukraine is the biggest grain producer in Europe. So there's an issue. They're trying to, and I thank Councillor Scott for pointing out that he heard that East Home announcement on the radio about they're going from 2 3/4 hours to 3 hours of individual care, which will add 16 more positions. Unfortunately, we're already short 16, so it's how to recruit them, and they're looking at how to recruit staff. Operational issues, I mentioned that. Supply chain, food purchasing. The people we purchase our food from suggest that there's a 5 to 15% increase. So that's going to be a knock on the budget next year. And right now, I was up there again last night, and we have 2 refrigerated units in the backyard that we have to keep food in because we're afraid we're not going to get food such as chicken and pork are the next 2 we think we won't be able to get. So watch your chickens, councillors. Finally, contracts, compliance and policy. We've got a new wheelchair supplier and agreement with them. We're actually looking at attracting foreign workers. That's how desperate it is. And the ministry has revoked vaccination mandates, which was great, except then they turned around and said, but you still have to have them. Now you pay for them. So we will continue to pay for anytime I go in, I have to be tested. And so we need someone at the door to read everything and then test you before you get in. And now East Home has to pay for that. But we're hoping maybe the government will come through in the end. So that's where we are with the mandates. And the next meeting is April 27th. So any comments or questions? Thank you. So end of committee reports. So now we will adopt minutes. And I know everybody got them. I got them right here. So it's number R202263. And I need a mover and a second. Councillor Kirky and Councillor Moore. Thank you. So again, our 2022-63 moved by Councillor Kirky, seconded by Councillor Moore, that the minutes of the council meeting held March 15th, 2022 be adopted as published. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you, Tom. Gary? Next, we have the rules and regulations that can govern the cemeteries in the township of Nipissing. Now, did everybody get a chance to read that?
Yes.
There are minimal changes, mainly with the, this was put out in the newspaper and we have to send it to monument companies so they know the rules. And there were no comments except one monument company said, thank you for giving me the information. Advertised in the Omagua News, and It seems all is good. So unless anybody else has comments or questions,
No.
I'll ask for a mover and a seconder.
Tom,
Thank you, Councillor Marchant and Councillor Scott. So we need the number on that. So 64. Perfect. So it's number R 202264, moved by Councillor Scott, pardon me, by Councillor Marchant, seconded by Councillor Scott, that we pass bylaw number 202217, being a bylaw to provide the rules and regulations that govern the Nipissing Union Cemetery, the St. John's Alsace Cemetery, and Commander Union Cemetery. Read a first, second, and third time and passed this 29th day of March 2022. All in favor?
yes.
Thank you. Carrie. Mm-hmm. 65. Now, if this is to adopt a municipal position description for a grader and equipment operator for the township of Nipissing. The change is we had to put this in because whoever we get will not be the foreman, and that was part of the original graders, grader and equipment operator. And Dan, if you want to speak to this.
Yeah, we just need someone to run the grader while in the springtime. I mean, I don't have time. I need someone prepping ahead of calcium. So just need a grader guy to just degrade.
And this is just a short term.
3 months, yeah. I mean, we're hoping our grader guy will return shortly, but we need a little extra time. But yeah, it's just short term.
Any comments or questions?
Question, is there, in the resolution or motion, is there something that's saying it's a temporary position?
Yes.
Yep.
Grade level. Temporary.
Councillor Marchant, if you see the grade level on the actual position description document, it says C, temporary position. That's the wage it falls under as well.
Okay, I see that, but I just wondered the motion to, for the approval, this says temporary or not. If that matters, I just didn't want it to be construed that it's a permanent position.
No, because it's part of our position description, then it can't be construed that way. But thanks for pointing that out.
Well, as long as the grade level says that, it's all right, then it doesn't have to be in the position title.
No, it's part of the position, but what we're looking for is a temporary position, but we haven't asked for council to appoint anyone yet. When we come to that, that's where the temporary would come in.
Okay,
Again. So I need a mover and a seconder, please. Okay. Councillor Moore and Councillor Kirky. So it's number R 2022-65, moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Kirky. We passed bylaw number 2022-18, being a bylaw to adopt a municipal position description for a grader and equipment operator for the township of Nipissing. Read a first, second, and third time and passed this 29th day of March 2022. All in favor?
yes.
Thank you. And number 7. The bylaw to set tax ratios for municipal purposes for the year. And you'll notice on the second page, or bylaw to set tax ratios, those are all, nothing changes. It's the same ratios from last year. And it's the same tax tools that always have to be used.
Question, Your Worship,
Yes, sir.
on the last page, it says subclass reduction factors. I'm just wondering, they adopt the small scale on-farm business. And it says do not adopt. We don't have any. Is that why? Or what is,
I haven't seen any come across yet.
so would that have to be like a zoning change or just how would we know?
I believe that would be through impact. I'm not sure how that would be. All of this is through impact. This has nothing to do with our internal zoning.
Okay, I just wondered because there is, I know of a couple on farm businesses, not me.
But they would have to be through impact, through the program.
Okay, so it's true.
It's a new, it's something new that's come in. So
So this is true impact. Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, so for the tax ratios, and again, we'll get to the budget in the next one. So these are just the ratios of taxation. So I need a mover and seconder. Councillor Scott and Councillor Kirky. Thank you. So it's number R 2022-66, moved by Councillor Scott, seconded by Councillor Kirky, that we pass bylaw number 2022-19, being a bylaw to set tax ratios for municipal purposes for the year 2022. Read a first, second, and third time and passed this 29th day of March 2022. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Carried. Okay, so now we go to the presentation of the final 2022 budget. What we had 2 weeks ago was the draft, and we've gone over it. I'm going to turn this over to Chris because you see the first page. And then we have the second page, or the back of the first page. So in the impacts are the same, but I will hand it over to Chris and she will explain. And we can go over anything that you would like to question. So Chris, go ahead.
Okay. So in my report to council, I had stated last time that we had a 4% municipal tax levy increase and a 2.2 tax rate increase. However, we had to update some of our rental amounts for our equipment, and there were some changes that we had to make in the budget. And it came to our attention that for the landfill, the amounts that we gave were just for Bear Creek. That didn't include the Wolf Lake landfill. So there were a couple of different things. I had amended the landfill report as well. So this year our savings will be $1,400 because there is an additional $7,500 to finalize Wolf Lake landfill. And then next year we will be saving the full $15,000. So with those changes, I had listed the different things that we actually changed within the budget, and I highlighted them in the budget document itself. We did see savings in our group benefit package, so we did lower those numbers. Our thawing culverts labor amount had to be doubled because we were already over that amount. And we made some changes to our winter maintenance program. So with the changes that I listed, that will result in a 5% municipal tax levy increase and a 2.8 tax rate increase. And the tax impact will be for a single family home assessed at $203,000. The tax increase for 2022 will be $49.72. For a seasonal recreational dwelling assessed at $206,000, the tax increase for 2022 will be $50.46.
Okay, so hopefully everybody's had a chance to look over this. Do you have any? So we're looking at 2.8 instead of 2.2. And we're still well below the majority in the area. Well, anywhere from 6 to, I think 6 at the high end to nothing. I've seen nothing below 3% yet. So it looks good. Like we said, it was good that we captured those things, and especially culvert budgets and that kind of thing in ACOM, where they had not looked at both Bear Creek and Wolf Lake, but we have everything now, and that would be our final budget. So does anybody have any questions otherwise? If not, we will give this package trade.
No questions, but a comment. I think 2.8 is still very good, Chris. Thank you.
Yes,
Yes, Chris.
I think we all agree.
Excellent.
Job well done.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I need a mover and a seconder then.
I will.
Okay, I'll have Councillor Marchant and Councillor Moore. So it's R 2022-67, moved by Councillor Marchant, seconded by Councillor Moore. So we pass bylaw number 2022-20, being a bylaw to adopt the estimates for all sums required for the year, to provide for the adoption of tax rates, and to further provide for penalty and interest in default of payment thereof for 2022, read a first, second, and third time, and pass this 29th day of March 2022. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Carried. And we'll move to the next, and the next two, these have already gone through in the budget. They've already gone through, one in Public Works and the other in Fire Department. And were discussed 2 weeks, well, they were line items 2 weeks ago, but we saw them months ago with the tower and the lights. But they're back here because it's too high for Chris to, she can't okay anything this high, so it comes to council. But because they're already in the budget, it's already, we've already okayed them, but Chris can't, so it comes back to us. So the first one is for the roads equipment, Stinson Owl Lake Traffic and Infrastructure Solutions. And I'm going to ask for mover and seconder, and then if you have any questions, Dan would be delighted to answer them. So a mover and the seconder, Councillor Scott, and Councillor Kirky. So Stinson Owl Lake Traffic and Infrastructure Solution, and a set of single head portable signal lights for traffic control purposes during construction projects. Okay, now and I thought, wow, this is way out of, but then I realized this isn't the counter thing that says how fast you're going. Got that one wrong.
So did I, apparently.
No, they're stoplights basically. So I don't need, it takes the place of flaggers because I don't have enough manpower when we're doing culverts down the far end of the town to get the gravel back and forth. So we can set up these traffic lights in 5 minutes and it controls the traffic for us. We used them out in Birch Grove last summer. We rented a set and it worked phenomenally. I mean, you set them up for the day, they're solar powered and you set the program and it just runs. So it eliminates a lot of, even when we go to do culverts outside the construction season, we're always on a hill or a curve. So this, we can control traffic the proper way.
The other question I had, and I know our brusher, but would you ever use them for that?
We could, because we can, it's good for a 1.6 mile radius in between. So you can set the timer, you can spread them out a good ways, and then you set the timer, so it gives the vehicles time to get through that section, and the other one's held.
Right, because I know, and I know Counselor Marchant pointed this out a year ago when he's brushing and his butt end comes out, you know, if two cars are coming at the same time, we don't have a flag.
No,
Yeah.
and so with a moving operation, you don't need a flagger, but with the new excavator, it doesn't have that big counterweight, so it doesn't hang out, and we can be right on the edge of the ditch line, so we've got the machine pretty much off the road, but yeah, we can use the traffic lights for all that stuff.
You can also use a yield on coming traffic
Yeah, but I
in the
mean,
lane that it's in.
it just literally takes minutes to set these lights up, so we figure he's gonna do a kilometer stretch, we just set it up for the kilometer and let traffic light take care of traffic. But it's a lot for culverts, like I said, in ditching, we're always in a bad spot. And we just don't have manpower for flagging and moving material around.
Or you're not in flat country.
No, no.
And I understand the liability issues too, because, I mean, even I watched that on South, like Nipissing Road a year ago. And again, dump truck there and you're ditching and you can't put two guys on either end or nothing else gets done.
Right.
And again, you know, I drove by whatever, but there are people that would sit there or have issues, you know? So I think from a liability issue,
And I figure they'll pay for themselves in 4 years, just on construction, like our construction, not doing culverts or anything else. And I mean, on big accidents, the fire department can use them to control traffic. So their firefighters aren't tied up.
So that will free up two firefighters for us as well, especially on long scenes where we have to shut down the road.
Technically, probably free up 3 people, because
Some
no
do.
matter you have 2 flaggers,
You need to
they're still
understand-
entitled to breaks, and they're still entitled to bathroom breaks, where these machines, they work, and they don't need any of that stuff, so,
They just need sunlight
yeah.
or to be plugged in and charged, whatever.
Which we have portable generators
Yeah,
to
so-
assist with that.
okay, good. Because again, I just read the wrong thing. So are there any other questions for Dan? So it's R 2022-68, moved by Counselor Scott, seconded by Counselor Kirky, that we accept a quotation from Stinson Howell Light Traffic and Infrastructure Solutions for the supply of a set of single head portable signal lights for traffic control purposes during construction projects. Quotation cost $33,843.50, including applicable taxes. All in favor?
Yes,
Thank you. And second one, this one I had it right, and that's for the tower and repeater equipment, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so first of all, I need a mover and seconder, Counselor Moore and Counselor Scott. And this is, we're looking, Will, at putting this in the south end?
On Highway 522 on our property that
Okay,
we own
That's the one in command.
in Commanda.
Yep.
And it's gonna service fire and roads.
perfect. So that'll fill that dead space gap that we had?
Correct.
Okay,
And fire and roads both have the dead spot. So roads will lose a little bit in North Bay now, but we have cell phones for North Bay. We have nothing for the Command area. So this will make it up. So fire and roads both have coverage.
good. Enhanced service in there, that's good. So I've got a motion. It's R 2022-69, moved by Counselor Moore, seconded by Counselor Scott, that we accept the quote received from Spectrum Group for the supply of a telecommunications tower and repeater equipment totaling $34,803.25, including applicable taxes. All in favor?
yes,
Thank you, Carrie. They really break this down specifically right to the connectors for the wire. That's good. Okay, and the next one, number 12, we had talked about this at the last meeting. We're still awaiting what they're going to do in the town, in the hamlet of, or the village of Nipissing itself. But this is on 522. So I need a mover and a seconder, please.
yes,
Okay, Counselor Marchant and Counselor Scott. And don't anybody feel badly if I haven't asked you that? Didn't pick you to move or second because we still have the accounts to pay. It's a beauty. So it's number R 2022-70, moved by Counselor Marchant, seconded by Counselor Scott. Whereas community safety is a priority for the township of Nipissing, and whereas Highway 522 through the hamlet designation is a provincial highway with a speed limit of 80 kilometers an hour and sees significant traffic, whereas the Commanding Museum and Commanding Community Center are located along Highway 522 through the settlement area as designated on the official plan. Now, therefore, the Township of Nipissing Council respectfully requests the Ministry of Transportation review the current speed limit of 80 kilometers an hour along Highway 522 from Alsace Road to Old Nipissing Road and consider a further reduction to 60 kilometers an hour in order to promote improved community safety. All in favor?
yes,
Carried. Thank you. And next, this is for the Ag Society Fall Fair donation, mover and seconder. Okay, Counselor Moore and Counselor Kirk. It's number R 2022-71, moved by Counselor Moore, seconded by Counselor Kirkby, that we donate $100 to the Blossom Agricultural Society 2022 Fall Fair. All in favor?
yes,
Carried. And next, we have the municipal resources during an election campaign. This has to be updated every time because this time, of course, the nomination dates changed from January 1 to May 2nd. Titles have changed and campaigning's changed. So that had to be all updated, and it has been. And everybody got a copy. So those of us that decide to run, we know the rules. So that's great. So a mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Counselor Kirky, Counselor Scott. So it's R 2022-72, moved by Counselor Kirky, seconded by Counselor Scott, that we approve the updated use of municipal resources during election campaign rules and procedures document as presented. All in favor? Carried.
yes,
Thank you. Next. Okay, this is regarding the use of floating accommodations on waterways over Ontario's public lands. Everybody, I assume, read the letter. I didn't suggest, but I'm glad to see the ice fishing bungalows are mentioned because they're also on floating. They're just hard water, okay? So we put it all in because it's the same issues that we would have with floating accommodation that we have with the ice bungalows. So if no one has a question, are there any questions on this? If none, a mover and a seconder.
second,
Okay. Go go Counselor Moore and Counselor March.
I think it was very good to add in the ice huts.
Yes, thank you, and I agree. I think we all agree with that for sure. So it's number R 2022-73, moved by Counselor Moore, seconded by Counselor Marchant, that we authorize the mayor to sign a letter to submit comments regarding the use of floating accommodations on waterways over Ontario's public lands. All in favor?
Yes,
Carried. There, got the name signed right. Next, the approve the spring 2022 newsletter for circulation. And what we've done, the only change from the original is just this back page. And what we added was Nipissing Township Museum Board invites applications for museum assistance. And it's all there. And that was the only other change.
I have a question.
Yes. Okay. Anything else? Yes.
On the first page, the voting day, should we have in there where they're going to be for the 24th?
I believe there's another one before that.
There's
Yeah,
the advanced vote telling about the township office and the command and community center, but I just wondered, it should be in their voting day where they'll be.
We haven't
Yes.
established those yet, but once we do, they will be in the fall newsletter so that everybody will also get them by mail, and it will be more detailed.
Okay,
This was just a notice of a nomination.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. Counselor Scott.
For not this newsletter, but the next newsletter, if it's possible to put in how much we've raised on the bottom right for information, so
Sure, that'd be great.
if it's
Yes,
possible.
I'll make a note.
Okay. So we've noted those. And so this, I need a mover and a seconder. Counselor Kirky and Counselor Scott. So it's number R 2022-74, moved by Counselor Kirky, seconded by Counselor Scott, that we approve the spring 2022 newsletter for circulation as presented. All in favor?
Yes,
Carried. Okay. Now, this to authorize the township office to close from 12 to 4:30 PM on Thursday, April 13th for election training. The city of North Bay has offered to do this. Municipal Affairs will be there and they will be running it. And for Kristen, this will be her first. For Chris, first one at the helm. And John Paul hasn't, well, there are a number of new rules. And this is a change from 4 years ago. So that's why they're looking to close the office that day so they can all learn how to do it right. So any comments or questions? So mover and a seconder, please. Counselor Moore and Counselor Scott. Thank you. So it's number R 2022-75, moved by Counselor Moore, seconded by Counselor Scott, that we authorize the township office to close from 12 PM to 4:30 PM on Thursday, April 13, 2022, to allow the staff to participate in municipal election training. All in favor?
yes,
Carried. side note to that, there's also, if anybody's interested, there's a course in April put on by the city of North Bay on how to be a good mayor. So if you want any information on that, just City of North Bay, and I believe it's Karen McIsaac, but talk to the City of North Bay. It's a one-day course, and by golly, I wish I had taken it. So anyway, just a heads up. Now we'll go to correspondence. First of all, thank you, letter from Near North Crime Stoppers. That's great. The second, it's not a resolution, more information from the town of Wasaga Beach. They shared to inform of suggestions to improve fire service delivery. Now, I know a number of these things we're already doing, but Wasaga Beach is a full-time fire department. So their comments in most cases don't relate to our, unless we choose to hire a number of firefighters. But it's regional and not appropriate for us, but we are under AMO and we supported AMO's directives, and many of which are the part that I highlighted in here as well. And if you have any questions, Will could answer those if you have any questions about those. So that is, as soon as I do, I cover up. So that's from Wasaga. The minutes of the Township of Nipissing Recreation Committee meeting held March 7th. And when I read the minutes, I noticed the one thing that had been a question, whether or not you have to have police checks. And I was told because parents are to be there and not just dropping off, and you don't need a police check. So I did learn something, and I also, Kristen pointed out today that the number of registered children is 78. So almost twice what it was. So they're going to be looking for more volunteers. So that was good. Boston Public Library. And again, open at 100%, as Steve said, after May something. Okay, yep,
It's in my name.
yes, it's there. And I,
The end of May.
End of
Sorry,
May,
the end of
yep.
May.
okay. The next thing, and we always get this, and it was also in the newspaper, about the Nipissing Forest annual work schedule, and that just makes it known to us. And the next one is a letter from South Huron. We have already, and Will has already done this, the fire chiefs have already supported the letter, and it has already gone to the government about this. And it's about the training of the new fire department firefighter certification. So we're ahead on that one. And you saw the AMO response already. They rated it. We supported, and Danny Whalen supported. So thankfully it's getting out there. It just doesn't mean they're gonna listen. The next one is I've got Phenom on the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. It was a thank you to Phenom from the chair, thanking them for, I mean, we already saw the announcement, so sometimes good things happen, so that's great. And I think, okay, copy of the news release regarding a new program reimbursing municipalities for fire services provided on Crown land. Yeah. Well,
Doesn't apply to us.
right. So doesn't apply to us. and Golden Sunshine. Now, the only thing, and I forgot to ask today, because I wrote it in this yellow and I couldn't see it, but it says mine started at number 8. Did everybody get from 1? Yes, you did. I can see Steve's from here, so you got it all. Okay. Was there any questions about that? Next meeting, we should hear about the March 22nd meeting. Otherwise, are there any comments or questions about correspondence? Okay. Moving on, a mover and a seconder, Councillor Kirky and Councillor Moore. Thank you. It worked out well, except James has a pecuniary interest, so Councillor Marchant and one of you two are connected. So it's number R2276, moved by Councillor Kirky, seconded by Councillor Moore, that we accept the correspondence as presented. All in favor?
Yes.
Carried. Okay. That's mine. Okay, so the next one is a statement of accounts dated March 16th and 24. I had a question, and it was on the Royal Bank Visa, Will's, Dan's, and John Paul's, and that's all here in the file if anybody. John Paul's was mainly postage, and Will's was fire equipment, Dan's was Office Adobe subscriptions. Okay, no, that's John Paul's was election guide for AMO, Office Adobe subscription, Zoom subscription. Dan's was rubber boots, driver training, garage supplies, chainsaw supplies. And we have for Will, supplies for the station, garage supplies, PW trucks, PW, what's that stand for? PW trucks.
Public Works.
Okay, thank you. Health and safety, and CO2 detectors that they take with them when they do a house inspection and nobody has any. So that's where those came from. Now, that was my question. Does anybody else have a question that you'd care to ask now? Because evidently Chris is right on the ball there. Thank you, Chris.
I have one. Jim's locksmithing, Bob's insulation. Was that for a truck or something there?
Those are fobs for the fitness center. We were all out.
Oh, okay.
They
Fitness
break
center.
down.
I wasn't thinking of that.
They bring down a bunch and they install them into the computer and they program them for us. And then
Great.
that's why we have the deposit for people that purchase.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also on the, I know you've been really busy with budget and all that, but sometime you were going to do a comparison for the recycling. The
I
cost
have
of
not
it.
done that yet. I will.
No,
have
no.
that.
No, I'm just saying because you're busy with the budget and all that, I wasn't expecting it yet.
I will have, it's on my list of things to have ready though.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, this is a doozy tonight because you'll notice Conseil Scolaire Public du Nord and Near North and Nipissing Parish Sound Catholic and the health unit. So those are some whoppers. So I need a mover and a seconder, please.
I'm not a supporter of them tax wise, but I'll make the motion.
Okay, so Councillor Marchant,
Oh, I think you're longer.
pardon?
I think you're longer than Steve.
Okay,
You almost started weeping over there.
Well, I did the motion on the first one.
it is a big one. So it's number R 202277. moved by Councillor Marchant, seconded by Councillor Moore, that the statement of accounts dated March 16th and 24th, 2022, totaling $231,852.86 be approved. All in favor?
Yes,
Carried. Thank you. Councillor Scott, you can rejoin. Thank you. Next, wow, you guys have done your homework. You had everything read and ready to go. So that's great tonight. We're to the confirming bylaw. So I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Kirky and Councillor Scott. It's number R 2022-78, moved by Councillor Kirky, seconded by Councillor Scott, that we passed bylaw number 2022-71, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on March 29th, 2022, read the first, second, and third time, and passed this 29th day of March, 2022. All in favor?
yes,
Carried. And Kristen, good work. Okay, this is the adjourning one, and I need two people, Councillor Moore and Councillor Kirky. It's number R 2022-79, moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Kirky, that the meeting be adjourned at 7:26 p.m. Next regular meeting to be held April 12th, 2022. All in favor?
yes.
Carried. Thank you all for being here. Tom, let's hope everybody stays safe and
Yes,
doesn't be positive for COVID. So
I hope not. The numbers are gaining. They're talking about a fourth wave, so.
yeah, I saw it on the TV